This is going to be a short video on how to organize qualitative data. So what I'm going to do here, and this is the file that I use for my face-to-face class, and I will go ahead and upload it for you guys. And so we're going to go ahead and look at gender. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this, and then also how to change some of the labels when you create a graph. So remember, a quantitative is going to have a histogram or an ogive, and a qualitative, which is categories, is going to have a bar graph. So let's do this one. All right. So what we have here is we have this variable, which is gender. Now, when I create my table, and your APA table has to be the way that I'm going to show you how to create it here in a few minutes. Now, I am using the free version of Screencast-O-Matic, and the reason is because I want you guys eventually going to use this also to create your final presentation. And so eventually I'll put up a video on how to use this software. It's free, so it's actually pretty neat. And so here I have my variable gender, and that's a qualitative variable. And so I have my levels, and the levels that I have here for this one is simply just male and female. I don't have any other levels within this variable. And so I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this here so you guys can see it. I'm also going to get rid of this. Now, one of the things that when you do this, follow along exactly, because if you do something different, what's going to happen is Excel is kind of quirky and is not going to see, if you will, what you're trying to make it see. So what you want to do is you want to type in the COUNTIF. Now, the COUNTIF has two things that you need. You need the range, which is your raw data, and then you need the criteria. So you're going to tell Excel, I want you to look here in the range, and then I want you to pick out these. And so my raw data is just going to be all of my where all of my responses are. And so if you look at the function bar, now the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Excel, okay, so I want you to look here, and I want you to look for this, and this is the look for this part. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do equal, which is slightly different than when we use for a quantitative variable. And I'm going to click on where it says the first female. Now, it doesn't really matter where you click, as long as you click on one of the responses that you're trying to match. Now, what's going to happen here is once I press enter, Excel is going to count how many females. Now, some of the issues that you might have when you do this is if you were missing data and you typed it in, although it looks the same, for some odd reason, sometimes Excel doesn't count it. So what I suggest is if you're going to impute qualitative data, copy and paste it. Don't type it in because you're going to miss it. So you can see here that I have 28 females, and it's a simple formula, much simpler than the quantitative one. Now, if I highlight where my raw data is, and then I press the function 4 key, or F4, what happens is that Excel will put some dollar signs around my range. And now what I can do is I can drag it over to the male. Now, obviously, there aren't 0 males, because you see that Excel just switched this. So what I want to do is I want to highlight the C2, and I want to click on the first male. And then I have 10 males. Now, I know that my count is 38, but I always want to double check it. And so I type in equals sum, and then I just highlight these two, and then it gives me my 38. So this would be your frequency distribution table for gender. Now, the other thing that I also want to do is I want to do the relative frequency, because I want to know what percentage of my participants are female, what percentage are male. So I'm going to do the 28, and then I'm going to type in the 38. And the reason I'm going to do that is because if I click on the cell that has the 38, I have to use the dollar signs if I'm going to drag it. So I want to be able to do that. So I have 74% female, and if I drag it, you're going to see that it's going to give me my 26%. And if I even go here, it's going to give me 100%. Now, I don't need the decimal, so I can just go ahead and get rid of them. And so this is your table, and this is actually just a few more things to make it an APA table. What I'm going to do here, though, is I am going to unmerge this because I want it to go across the entire, all three of them. So I highlight where I want it to go, and then I just merge and center. Now, what I'm going to do here is, and hopefully you can see it. Let me see if I can move this out of the way real quick. I want to do, in this cell, I want to do a bottom border. I also want to do a top border. And then I want to do a bottom border here on the last one. And that's a bottom border. Now, I'm going to just quickly open up Word here so you guys can see what it should look like when I copy and paste it. Let me just open up this real quick. And let me minimize it here. All right, so let me go back here. So this is my table. If I just Control C. Now, when you go to to Word, there's several options, and you can see the difference in all of them. And so I would just go ahead and pick the first one. And so the only thing that's missing in this table is the captions. And so go to the library module, and she'll explain to you how to do the captions for the table. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and create a bar graph, and I'm going to show you how to change the labels. And this goes for, let me see how much time is left. 6 minutes. This goes for anything, histogram or any other kind of graph. So I highlight what I want. Don't highlight all of them because then you'll end up with multiple bars, and you don't want that. So just highlight the levels of the variable and then just the frequency. And if I click on Insert, I want the first one, right? If you have a Mac, it's slightly different. You might have to look that up. Now that I have this, if you notice, when I click on the graph, I get this option here. And so what I want to do is just do the horizontal. And honestly, since that's already labeled female and male, I don't really want to put anything there, but I just want to show you what you do. You click on it, and then you just type in the word gender, and then you see that it puts it there. And then you do the same thing for the vertical. And this one is going to be frequency. Make sure I spelled it right. And in the chart title, you can just click on that, and then I would probably put gender of participants. And so that's how you change the labels, or you create the labels and you put some more information. I think I covered everything from the email. I ran into a student the other day, and she asked me to do this, so I'm doing it. But I think I covered everything that she needed as far as the questions that she had. If you have any questions, always reach out to me. And that's it. Thank you.